I want to quickly talk to you about Liberty Tax versus TurboTax. So we're going to look at the functionalities, the pros and cons, the pricing, everything. So let me first start with general information about the Liberty Tax. When you think about Liberty Tax, think about a lesser known sort of software tool. I mean, TurboTax is more known because the TurboTax is associated with the like Intuit, the makers of QuickBooks and MailChimp, among others. But so when you think about the Liberty Tax, I want you to think about pricing that starts at about $20. TurboTax starts at about $40. So you can see that TurboTax is more expensive than Liberty Tax. Okay. Now TurboTax has, and I will talk about that later on. TurboTax has more functionalities, that's for sure. And TurboTax also has more sort of reputational appeal, if you will, than Liberty Tax. And so in terms of pricing model for both software tools, this is a one-time payment. So you don't have like a annual subscription or a monthly payment. So this is just a regular tax preparation software. So you don't have to pay for anything like every month. No, this is a one-time payment. If you're filing your federal taxes, you actually pay your $39.99 for TurboTax, and if you're filing your state taxes, you have to actually pay about $30. And but what we love about Liberty Tax is that Liberty Tax seems to be more transparent when it comes to their pricing model than TurboTax. And I'll explain that a little on, because TurboTax has a constellation of add-ons that can really increase your overall bill down the road. And Liberty Tax doesn't have that. They have a more straightforward, if you will, more straightforward pricing model. So when it comes to general presentation, TurboTax, they are more known. They have like a better brand appeal, if you will. Liberty Tax is lesser known, but in terms of pricing model and pricing transparency, we really think that Liberty Tax is really doing a great job here in terms of being upfront with the users. And one thing I want to say about TurboTax is that you have a constellation of features, and that you do not have. For instance, with Liberty Tax, when it comes to filing business taxes, things can be a little complicated. I mean, I'll explain that a little more, but things can be a little complicated. So general information here. This is for Liberty Tax and TurboTax. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Now let's talk about the features here. So when you think about Liberty Tax versus TurboTax, what are the features? I want to first start with Liberty Tax, and then I'll talk about TurboTax later on. So when you think about Liberty Tax, when it comes to features, you have ACA forms. So you have a free chat. So this is kind of cool. You have prior year return access. So you're able to actually access but this is because you have already filed with Liberty Tax the previous year. Because if you file with another competitor, if you're with a competitor, you're going to have to import that return, and you can't have access to it so readily. And so you're able to do a W-2 download through Liberty Tax. This is really good. We love that a lot. We love the fact that you have credit maximizer within Liberty Tax, so you are able to actually Liberty Tax, the algorithm will ask you a series of questions to help you actually maximize your credits. You also have child and dependent care, so this is kind of cool. You have competitor imports, so that's what I was just telling you. Let's say if you filed your tax return last year with a TurboTax or H&R Block or a Tax Act or Tax Layer, Liberty Tax is giving you the capability, if you will, to import your data from that competitor. So you're able to import last year's info. You are able to do your state tax preparation through Liberty Tax. It's just kind of cool, and you can create prior year returns. So this is kind of up to 3 years though. So if we are in 2024, for instance, you can actually file tax. You can create tax returns up to 2021. And you also have non-resident partial and year-end return state return preparation. You have depreciation. This is a good feature that you have within Liberty Tax. You have sole proprietor income, so you're able to actually integrate your data into your Schedule C within Liberty Tax. This is kind of cool. You have home office deduction. You have income from real estate and rentals. That's totally possible. You can actually integrate that in Liberty Tax. You have profits, gains, and loss. So here I'm talking about those small business owners. Okay, if you sold a home, you can actually write that off within Liberty Tax. You have itemized deductions. You have health savings accounts, interest and ordinary income, and self-employment income. as well as business expenses. So this is really good in terms of giving you a large array of features here. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about Liberty Tax versus TurboTax. Let's talk now about the TurboTax features here. So with TurboTax, you have a maximum tax refund. This is really good. You have accurate calculations. So basically, TurboTax gives you a guarantee that your calculations will be accurate. Otherwise, they will reimburse you for whatever damage you suffer. You have electronic tax filing. So this is pretty streamlined within TurboTax. You have tax reports and preparations guides. This is really, really granular, really comprehensive. We'll love that a lot. You have tax payment options. You can import financial data. So TurboTax has integrations to tens, if not hundreds, of financial institutions. So you can actually import financial data, things like brokerage transactions or anything that has to do with a bank or a credit union or an investment brokerage, a brokerage account. You can actually import that if the integration exists within TurboTax. You have Quicken and QuickBooks Desktop 2. You have updated tax and health care laws. This is really good. You have tax history. So this is kind of fantastic. You have investment assistance. This is totally possible, but you need to sign up for the service. You have stock plans. You have retirement plans, the retirement tax assistance. You can create W-2 and 1099 tax forms. You have taxation guides for small and medium-sized businesses. Everything from Form 1065 all the way to 1120S, 1120. And so this is kind of cool. You have tax tools and tips. This is really good. We love that a lot. You have a donation tracker within TurboTax. This is kind of cool. And TurboTax is one of the few vendors that have this sort of feature, the donation tracker. You have an expense estimator. You have a withholding calculator. Here is a way for TurboTax to help you actually you want to have the optimum amount withheld from your account. No more, no less. Okay. You have data security and encryption. So TurboTax really wants you to make sure that wants you to understand that your data is safe with them. You have integrations. You have integrations to multiple third-party apps. You have mobile apps for that matter. So this is kind of cool. The TurboTax mobile apps are way more sophisticated as I did of this show than Liberty Taxes. So it is what it is. Now let me go a little deeper in terms of pricing. So we're going to talk we're going to talk about pricing, and then I'll talk about integrations and languages supported. So you have a clear idea what you're getting yourself into with Liberty Tax versus TurboTax. So let's first talk about pricing info. So when you think about pricing info, basically Liberty Tax Online offers 4 small and medium-sized business and enterprise pricing plans for users to choose from. You also have the individual plan, of course. Now, their small and medium-sized business plan is not really that sophisticated. I mean, you can file forms through them, but they're not that sophisticated. Maybe next year they will actually improve that part of things. So basically, they have an easy plan, so that will cost you about $20 per month. And so here you have ACA forms, free chat, prior year return access. You have W-2 download, credit maximizer, child and dependent care, competitor import, and you can import last year's info. So this is kind of cool. You also have state tax depreciation. You can create prior year returns, non-resident partial year state returns preparation. This is really good. And so you have the easy plan, $20 per month. The basic plan, $25 per month. Everything in the easy plan plus automized deductions, health savings accounts, interest and ordinary income, self-employment income, and business expenses. So you can see that it's pretty comprehensive, but not as comprehensive as the TurboTax. I will talk about that later on. And then you have the deluxe plan that will cost you about $55 per month. So you have everything in the basic plan plus depreciation. You have sole proprietor income, home office deduction. And then you have the premium plan. That's actually the highest when it comes to a Liberty Tax. So they're charging you $79.95 per month. And so you have everything in the deluxe plan plus income from real estate and rentals, profit, gains and loss, and sale of home. That's for Liberty Tax. Now, what about TurboTax? TurboTax actually has 4 small and medium-sized business and enterprise pricing plans for users to choose from. So the basic actually will give you basic is at $40, and this is recommended for step-by-step guidance. You have state additional, and you have 5 federal e-files included. That's for the basic. And for the deluxe, you have a plan that is recommended for maximizing your deductions, 1 state download, and 5 federal e-files included. For the Premier, you actually, if you want to use the Premier, if you have investment and rental property, you have 1 state download and 5 federal and e-files included. And for home and business, that will cost you about $109. This is recommended for personal and self-employed. And here you have, sorry about that. Okay, so here you have a 1 state download and 1 state download and 5 federal e-files included. Okay, so this is kind of cool. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about basically Liberty Tax versus TurboTax. Now let's talk about integrations here. So when it comes to Liberty Tax doesn't have it has no integrations. TurboTax has a ton of They have tons of integrations. You have QuickBooks, you have Wealthfront, you have the Neat Company, you have Paycor, and so on and so forth. Okay, so they integrate with a lot of apps. So this is kind of really cool. In terms of languages supported, it's English as of now, and we've heard that TurboTax is working on integrating with Spanish at some point, but right now they only support English, and so does Liberty Tax. And the thing is that in terms of available devices, you have a Windows for Liberty Tax. You have Windows, Mac, and web-based. So Liberty Tax doesn't have an iPhone or iPad sort of a process right now. They don't have Android. They don't have Linux. They don't have none of that. And when it comes to TurboTax actually can accommodate you on Windows, Android, iPhone app. So, and you also have a web base. So with TurboTax, you have more options. So right now, Liberty Tax doesn't have an app. This is something that it is a bummer though, because basically, if you want to file your taxes via a handheld device, you're not going to be able to do that through Liberty Tax. So it's really a problem. Now, one thing you want to make sure is that if you want to actually file your taxes through Liberty Tax online from your smartphone, you just want to log on to the regular website. Okay, so just log on to the regular website, and from there you actually try to file your taxes. They don't have an app, but their website is actually pretty mobile responsive, so you're able to find the same functionalities, the same capabilities that you have on desktop. So this is kind of fine. This is really fantastic. So when you think about Liberty Tax versus TurboTax, in terms of the target audience here, the company size for Liberty Tax is actually a small business and medium businesses. Now, some cases they try to reach out to individuals and freelancers, but it's not as robust as what you have with TurboTax. TurboTax has a more established tradition of reaching out to small businesses, medium businesses, freelancers, individuals, and so on and so forth. You have a larger, a more varied array of supports from TurboTax, that's for sure. What about available support? Basically, Liberty Tax Online, you are able to reach out to them via email, phone, and live support. This is really good. They don't have training and tickets, support tickets, that is. So in terms of TurboTax, available support, you have phone and live support, but TurboTax has the ability to actually know exactly what you can actually reach out to them and ask for specified support depending on your needs. That's totally possible. The service is possible, but you got to request it. It's one of those things where if you don't request it, you're not going to actually, you're not going to get it. So it's one of those things, again, you have to ask for it. One thing I want to also say is that when you think about TurboTax in general, you want to really understand that, of course, the service is more expensive, that's for sure. But you have more also. You receive more. In terms of functionalities, in terms of capabilities, in terms of the ease of use. I mean, TurboTax has a sleeker sort of, I would say, interview process for filing your taxes. I mean, the UI is great. The UX is great. So user experience, user interface is really great. So you are able to do a lot of stuff through TurboTax than you are to do with Liberty Tax Online. And so that's one of the reasons why it's more expensive. I mean, TurboTax is more expensive. You saw the price earlier when I told you, right? I mean, the basic price at Liberty Tax was that what? It was $19.99 or $19.95, and TurboTax prices was double. So we went from $19.95 for Liberty Tax to $39.99 for TurboTax. So the delta is 1 to 2 really. So it's one of those things where, hey, listen, if you're willing to pay for quality, maybe I mean, Liberty Tax is also quality though. Don't get me wrong, but the quality, you have way more quality in terms of comprehensiveness on the TurboTax side of things. Now, let me give you the general info here. So when we talk about, first of all, in terms of general info, Liberty Tax Online is really an easy to use online tax preparation software that's actually developed and distributed by Liberty Tax. And Liberty Tax has been in the tax preparation industry for a while now. So they're really pretty much well established. So we appreciate it. They're really good. Their products are really usually good. And so TurboTax is really well known. They've been around for decades now. And so you're able to file federal and state income tax returns online. And the cool thing is that TurboTax actually is affiliated with Intuit, as I said before. Intuit, the owner, if you will, of QuickBooks, but also the owner of MailChimp in terms of email marketing. So you do have a brain there, a better, like you have a constellation of pretty reputable brains that we have here. And also basically when you think about TurboTax, I want you to think about complete check system, which is basically a feature that verifies all data prior to filing. So this is kind of cool. And in terms of customer service, you can call actually TurboTax at 1-800-4-INTUIT, 1-800-4-INTUIT. And for Liberty Tax Online, the number here is 1-757-493-8855, 1-757-493-8855. And the thing is that you are able to reach out to either provider. You can do live chat, you can do email, you can also do a phone, not a problem. Okay, now as we get around March or April, and as tax season is really sort of pretty saturated, pretty busy, you might want to call a little early in the morning, because otherwise, if you call during regular hours, regular business hours, you may be on the phone for 5 to 25 minutes. Last year when we tested this, it was around 1 hour. I mean, especially TurboTax, it was just crazy. So it's one of those things where you want to file your taxes earlier. Don't wait till the last minute, because then the lines are congested and you can't really get through. So if you can't get through, that can be really problematic here, okay? Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I did a quick TurboTax versus Liberty Tax compare and contrast. So let's do a quick recap here. So I talked to you about, I gave you a general glance into each software, the pricing model, the features, the pricing info, the integrations, the languages supported, the available devices, the company size, the available support, and the general info. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.